I'm Estelle Godlewski, your emotional support American abroad, and I've moved abroad 3 times in the last 12 years. This is How to Move Abroad for people who don't need more inspiration, they need an actual decision and a checklist. Each week, I cut through the internet noise and walk you through the stuff that actually decides whether this happens or not. Every episode ends with a weekly task because collecting information isn't progress, and someday isn't a strategy. Let's get into it. Hey there, friends. So you've done the work. You have a country. You ran your Tuesday test last week. The numbers work. The visas exist. And the cost of living is at least manageable, if not great. And you've written down the shape of the thing that on actual paper, like an actual person with an actual plan. Congratulations. You should feel good about this. You do feel good about this, I hope. And then your brain, helpful organ that it is, it goes, great. Now you have to actually tell people. And just like that, the good feeling probably evaporated. Because here's the thing nobody in the move abroad space prepares you for. It's not the visa application. It's not the shipping logistics. It's not even the money, which we have now discussed at length. And I think we've established it is not actually the monster under the bed everyone makes it out to be. It's the humans. Specifically, the humans in your life who are about to have a lot of feelings about your decision that you did not ask for and cannot return. Today, I want to talk about that a little bit with you, how to tell people you're moving abroad, what they're going to say more than likely in some cases, why they're going to say it, and how to get through those conversations without either abandoning your plan altogether or abandoning your family. So grab a drink. This one's a journey, and I know it's a little bit crazy. You're probably dreading the announcement. Let me paint you a picture. You've been carrying a plan around for weeks now. You've been listening to the podcast, you're doing your work, and maybe months now have passed. You've done the research and the visa homework and the Tuesday test, and you've got your number written down in a notebook that you keep slightly hidden because you're not ready for the conversation yet. You listen to the podcast when there's nobody else in the car, so nobody hears that you're thinking maybe you're going to do it. And oh my gosh, what am I going to do now? And every time you're at dinner with your parents or on the phone with your sister or having drinks with your friends, there's this moment where you almost say it, where it's right there on the tip of your tongue, and then you don't. Because once you say it, you can't unsay it. And once you can't unsay it, the opinions start. And the opinions, oh my God, the opinions. Here's what I want you to know before we go any further. The reactions you get when you tell people you're moving abroad are almost never actually about you. They're about the person you're telling, their fears, their assumptions, their own unlived decisions, the very specific relationship with risk and change, and the idea that someone they love is going to be far away. That doesn't make the reactions easier to sit through, but it does make them make more sense. And things that make more sense are slightly easier to not take personally. Slightly. So let me introduce you to the people you're about to meet. You may recognize some of them. First, you're going to meet the Catastrophizer. This person loves you and genuinely and completely and expresses their love by immediately generating every possible worst case scenario at the highest volume possible. But what about healthcare? What if something happens? What about the kids' education? Have you looked into crime rates? I read an article, blah, 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 blah. The article was from 2011. The crime rates are for the city 3 hours from where you're thinking of moving, and the healthcare in your destination country is objectively better than what you have right now. None of this matters because the Catastrophizer is not actually worried about those specific things. They're worried about you being far away. The specifics are just the costume that the worry is wearing today. So how do you handle the Catastrophizer that you're inevitably going to find? Well, you're going to let them say things. Don't argue with the things. The things are not the point. When they're done, say something like, I know this is scary. I've looked into all of it and I have a real plan. I'd love to share it with you when you're ready to hear it. Then change the subject. They'll come around more than likely. Then they tend to come around eventually, usually around the time you actually leave. And then they realize you were serious, but they're okay. Person that always is fun to deal with is the Underminer. This one is a little bit sneakier. The Underminer doesn't catastrophize openly. They just ask questions. Very specific, very pointed questions delivered in a tone of genuine curiosity that somehow leaves you feeling like you failed an exam. Oh, interesting. And you've really thought through this. Like, really thought it through? Because it's a really big decision. I just want to make sure you've really thought it through. You have thought it through. You have thought it through more than they will ever know. You have spreadsheets and visa research and a number and a Tuesday test and a paragraph about the life you want. You've thought it through so thoroughly that thinking it through has become a personality trait. So, how do you handle these people? How do you handle the underminer? You answer, yes, I have. Full stop. You do not need to defend your plan to someone who has already decided it's not a good one. You are not on trial. You are not being required to convince them. You are allowed to make this decision without their blessing, and you are allowed to say it so politely with eye contact directly. You also have the person who's going to make this all about themselves. But what about me? What am I going to do without you? Who's going to come to Christmas? I feel like you're abandoning me. I'm going to not see my grandchildren. Oh, wait, that just was the one that I heard too many times. Honestly, that one requires a deep breath. This person loves you. They are going to miss you. Those are real feelings and they deserve to be acknowledged. And also, and I say this with all the love in the world, fuck off. This is not about them. You are not moving abroad to hurt anyone. You are moving abroad because you have one life and you decided to actually live it. Those things can both be true. I get it. Trust me, when we told some of my family members that we were moving abroad, holy crap was the reaction unbelievable. Why would you do this to me? I'm never going to see you. It's so hard. Blah, 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 blah. Look, planes go both ways. Like, you can come see me. I can come see you. I'm living in a part of the world that you've never been to before. Get on a fucking plane and come see me. Yay! Free place to stay. No hotel costs. And I'll even chip in for dinner, right? People are going to make this like a move about themselves. They're going to make it a woe is me situation and you're going to have to handle them. So you're going to have to acknowledge their feelings without accepting the guilt of it. I know this is hard. I'm going to miss you too. We're going to figure out how to stay close. You can come over and visit with me, whatever that is. You have to mean it. You have to make the plan to stay close. FaceTime exists, flights exist. The distance is real, but it is not the end of a relationship unless both of you let it be. I think if you've been around for many, many, many episodes and not just what I call season 2 of this podcast, you would know that I send every week, I have a standing date night with my mom on FaceTime. Now, my parents live in the Chicagoland area, so it's a 7-hour time difference most of the time. It's a 7-hour time difference between me and my parents. So what we've done actually since before my daughter was born, but especially since she was born, every Wednesday my husband has a late work night meeting. So that's the day we call my parents. My daughter has dinner. My parents have lunch and we have a meal together. So you can make things happen. You can make it so that you have relationships and you build it. I can't tell you the number of games that I played online with my mom. I don't know. We played Memory, we played Candyland, we played Parcheesi. I mean, so many board games where I'm moving almost pieces while my daughter is sitting next to me and just like, oh my, that was a great choice. Can my mom actually see the board? Probably not. Does she know where the cards are in Memory? Absolutely not. She hasn't seen a single one of them. But yet somehow my daughter at age 3 thought Oma was playing along. And when my parents come to visit, which they usually try to come once or twice a year, they're aging, yes, but they still try and get on a plane and come once or twice a year. There's no love missing. There's no like time missing between the last time that they saw each other and now. Just the hugs are real. There was one time during COVID, actually shortly after COVID, finally let up and my parents could come visit and we hadn't seen them in person for 18 months. Now again, every Wednesday-ish, almost every Wednesday, we talk to my mom and have dinner with them online. But this had been a long time for my daughter who was only 2.5 when COVID started to not see my parents, right? So we thought, oh my gosh, she's going to be a little bit nervous. She wasn't. All I remember her saying, and I will never forget this, is, am I going to see their feet? Because on FaceTime, of course, you only see shoulders to head usually. And she was so excited that she was going to get to see their feet. And she ran up to them at the airport and gave them a big hug. There was no time lapse. There was no not knowing the person. And I think that that's something when you talk about it to the person who makes it about themselves, usually that's the grandparents or like very, very close friends. Those are ways that you can make things happen. You make a plan of how to stay close and you can continue the relationship. My daughter's relationship with my parents is closer than my relationship was with my grandparents when I lived down the road from them because simply we got to spend a lot of time together and we make the effort. And that's what it's really all about. The next one that you're going to hear from is the unsolicited expert. They are someone who has never moved abroad, has never seriously considered moving abroad, and has, however, read several articles and watched a documentary once, and somehow has some very strong opinions about your specific destination that they would like to share with you immediately and loudly. Oh, you're moving to Germany. I heard it's really hard to get a visa there, and the cost of living has gone way up. My cousin's friend tried to move there once and it didn't work out. Have you really, really looked into this? Their visa information is probably wrong. The cost of living data is from like 6 years ago and isn't accurate in any way possible. The friend's cousin made a different choice in a different situation with different resources and different life. You have done more research on this specific topic in the last month than this person has done in their entire life. So you have to handle them with just a simple smile and a, yep, we've really done our homework, and then move on. You do not need to win this conversation. You just need to survive it because there's no winning this conversation with that person. There will also be a quiet, supportive person. This person exists. I promise you they do. They're usually just quieter than everyone else, so they get lost in the noise above everyone screaming at you. They're the one who texts you later and says, I think what you're doing is amazing. I'm going to miss you so much, but I'm so proud of you. Hold on to that one because they're going to be really, really important through this process. Okay. Now you're probably thinking, well, what about if it's my partner, right? What if my partner is someone who's saying no? So let's talk about this one separately because I think it's its own thing entirely and I really want to bring it up. If you have a partner, this conversation is not going to be the same as the conversations and the people that we just talked about. This is not an announcement. This is, or it should be, an ongoing discussion that you've been having together, that you're both part of, that you're both building towards. If you're carrying this plan largely alone while your partner is nominally on board but hasn't really engaged with the details, that's something that you need to address right now. Not in a confrontational way, just in a, hey, I need you to actually be in this with me. Can we sit down together and go through what we figured out so far kind of way? Because here's what happens when one partner is fully invested and one partner is sort of passively along for the ride. Maybe we can do this. The invested partner does all of the work, carries all of the stress, makes all of the decisions, and then resents the passive partner when things get hard, which they will, because moving abroad is hard. And hard things require two people who are both actually present. If your partner has genuine hesitations, real ones, not just vague discomfort of, oh my gosh, I don't like change, those need to be on the table now, not suppressed, not managed, not worked around, on the table, named, discussed, talked about, hashed out, whatever it is. Because a hesitation that doesn't get addressed before the move becomes a resentment after it. And resentment in a foreign country where you're already stressed and disoriented and can't find the laundry detergent are significantly worse than resentments at home. Have that conversation, the one where you both say the actual thing. It's uncomfortable. Do it anyway. And if you need help with that, I actually have a free conversation starter pack that I can give you that you can start the conversation with your partner. I will drop the links in the show notes. It's super helpful to just, if you're not sure how to have that conversation, how to get started with why you want to move abroad potentially, that's in the show notes. Grab it. It's free. Nothing to worry about there, but I just want to make sure that you have that. I also want to be honest with you about something because I think you deserve it. Not everyone is going to be okay with you moving abroad. Not eventually, not after they see how happy you are, not after the first visit where they fall in love with where you live. Some people, a small number, but some are just not going to get it. And they're going to stay non-gotten in it for a very, very long time, possibly forever. I lost friends over this. We've talked about that. Not in a dramatic way, in the slow, quiet, drizzling way that somehow is harder than a clean break. People who couldn't follow me into a life that looked different from theirs. People who took my leaving as some kind of commentary on their life they were living, even though it absolutely wasn't. I am not telling you this to scare you. I'm telling you this so that if it happens to you, you don't spend years trying to figure out what you did wrong. Sometimes you didn't do anything wrong at all. Sometimes people just can't make the distance work, whether that's emotional or physical. And that's about them, not about you. The people who are meant to stay in your life will find a way to stay. They'll be on FaceTime from weird time zones. They'll plan visits. They'll ask questions about your new life with actual curiosity instead of thinly veiled judgment. They'll still be there in 5 years. Hold on to those ones. Let go of the others with as much grace as you can manage and know that the life you're building is worth it, even if not everyone can see it. This next part is what I wish someone had told me way earlier on in the process of moving abroad. You do not owe anyone a complete accounting of your decision. You don't have to justify the why to people who have already decided the why it's not good enough. You don't have to defend the plan to people who haven't asked to understand it. They just ask to argue with it. You don't have to convince anyone that this is the right choice. It's not theirs, it's yours. That being said, I say that in the sense of that doesn't include your partner, because if it's your partner, you both have to be fully on board. I really think that it's important. But if it's anyone else in your life, they do not need you to explain why this is important. You're allowed to say, we've made this decision and we're really excited about it. Full stop. Not, we made this decision and here's every piece of research and reasoning and contingency plan we've done over the past 6 months. Please approve before I move on to the next step. You are a grown-ass adult making legal decisions about your own life. The approval of people who aren't living your life is optional. It's okay to want it, and wanting people you love to be happy for you is completely human, but you do not need it to proceed. Say the thing, let them have their reaction, leave it up to them, give it time, and then keep going. Okay. Your weekly task this week. You have two options. Number one, if you haven't had the conversation with your partner yet, go have that conversation. That's not optional. That's mandatory. Go do it, right? You need to have the conversation with your partner, line it up, make sure that they know and they're on board and they're ready to keep going. Because trust me, if you're the person who's doing this all by yourself, oh my God, it's a fucking lot. And if you're doing it without the support of your partner, it's even worse. So 100% have a chat with your partner. If you're not on board yet all the way, if they're not 100% in, then you need to have that conversation first. If you already have your partner 100% in, then your next task is to tell one person, not everyone, just one. Pick the person in your life who you think is most likely to actually get it. The quiet, supportive one that you know if you have one. The friend who's been watching you research this for months and has been quietly rooting for you. The family member who has always understood you best. Tell them the real version, not the hedged, apologetic, heavily qualified version, the real one. We're moving abroad. We have a plan. Here's why we're moving. Here's the timeline. See what it feels like to say it out loud to someone who isn't going to make it weird. Because here's the thing about saying it out loud. It makes it real in a way that nothing else has yet. More real than a notebook, more real than a spreadsheet, more real than this podcast. Once you've said it to that one person, it's easier to say it to the next one and to the one after that. And eventually you'll have said it enough times that the plan stops being a secret you're carrying and starts being a thing that's actually happening in the future. That's what we want, the thing to actually happen. Tell one person, either your partner, if you haven't had that conversation yet, that's mandatory, or your quiet, supportive one, the person that you know is going to be cheering you on. All right, my friend, that is the humans episode. You will be fine, I promise. The conversations are going to be awkward and some of them are going to be hard. And at least one of them is going to make you want to temporarily relocate to a different country just to avoid it altogether, which actually is on brand for where we are. The people who love you will come around. The ones who don't, well, you'll figure that out too. Next week, we're getting back into the logistics because you've done the emotional work and you deserve some practical momentum. We're talking about what actually has to happen and in what order, so you're not trying to do everything at once and losing your goddamn mind. But first, tell one person, your partner or the quiet, supportive one this week, the right person, whoever that is. As always, find me on Instagram and tell me how it went. I want to know everything. I'm really nosy like that. The good reactions, the weird ones, the ones that surprised you, all of it. Let me know. Go have a drink first if you need to. I had a few before I told my mother-in-law. I will see you next week, friends. Thanks for tuning in to Broadly Speaking. If today's episode got you dreaming a little bigger or thinking a little braver, go ahead and hit subscribe, leave a review, or share it with someone who's ready for their own adventure. And hey, don't be a stranger. Come hang out with me over on Instagram at I am Estelle for the real, unfiltered life abroad. Keep that passport handy, and remember, life's too short to stay in one place.